I was born in Darling. It's a rural town in the Western Cape. And so for me, LGR was always out of reach based on where you need to send an application, and of course that being subject to getting access to gender affirming healthcare, which is located within your urban centers at academic hospitals predominantly. And so at the moment it is very much out of reach. The ability to change one's gender marker is out of reach to a large majority of our community members that are living in peri-urban and in rural contexts. And so for me, just drawing from that experience, it's really the hope that the law can make provision to take away all of these barriers that have been built into the legal framework that currently deny us the right to be able to change our gender markers. And so for me, looking at it through an intersectional lens, based on geographical location, class issues, it becomes important that the law responds to the realities of people on the ground. We are fighting for dignity, equality and freedom for transgender, diverse and intersex persons in the most authentic form. At the moment, based on the current piece of legislation that we have that has biomedical requirements built into the piece of legislation, trans and gender diverse and intersex persons, because of the high burden of proof that we need to execute when we do an application for a gender marker change, is relegated to second-class citizens within this country. And so that doesn't espouse constitutional values to dignity, equality and freedom. And so that is what we are fighting for. The 20 recommendations within the position paper speaks to recognition beyond the gender binaries, the current male-female dichotomy that we see in the law. And so it gives a much more expansive understanding of that. Secondly, it speaks to marginalized communities which the law has not recognized historically, even under the Alteration of Sex Description and Sex Status Act. Here we are speaking about recognition for refugees and asylum seekers. We are speaking for recognition for transgender prisoners. We are speaking about recognition for children that of course is relegated to parental consent and therefore is denied the right to change the gender particulars. So what does a law look like at this time that responds to the realities of the most marginalized persons within our very community? So it speaks around a number of issues, but I think that in essence it boils down to the demedicalization of the Act or legislation. It boils down to recognition beyond the binaries, and it boils down to premising this the new iteration of legislation that we are looking at, to premise that on the human rights to gender self-determination, bodily autonomy, and then of course that's speaking to dignity, equality and freedom.